Hey guys, it's GrizzlyGo here, and today I'm here to bring you a special video. We're going to discuss a top 10 list of what I think are the greatest operators of all time. And as an avid basketball fan, these lists are common and fun, so why not do one for this game? But before we get started, I want to clearly explain how I interpret the word greatness in this context. To define how I mean greatness, I'm talking about these operators' total impact on the game, mainly in the following ways: community and meme culture, any periods of excellence or highs, symbolism, and, most importantly, the impact of individual operators on gameplay, including metas and expanding strategies. So, to clarify again, I'm not solely talking about operators' peaks. I'm talking about which operators have the greatest impact since they were released. So, with those formalities out of the way, now onto the video. At number 10, we're already starting off a bit controversial, and I have Blitz at this spot. Now, this was very difficult for me to decide just because he's hated so much, but that also adds to his greatness. Blitz has been a menace against lesser experienced players for a long time now, leaving them with nightmares and sometimes even a ban. But Blitz wasn't always like this. Blitz wasn't as fast as he is now, and in fact, he didn't even charge like he does now. It wasn't until Blood Orchid where Ubisoft allowed Blitz to shield himself while sprinting. And even more before that, before Ubisoft patched hitboxes, Blitz would practically get headshot through his shield thanks to his big ass head and earmuffs. But through all that, Blitz has been a constant menace and a meme to unfortunate defenders with their backs against the wall. Let's just be grateful that the legend of TTS Blitz never hit the live servers. Moving on to our first defender, we have Pulse. I felt obligated to choose Pulse because he symbolized old Siege in such a big but simple way: shotguns. Shotguns ruled the game because of their ridiculous range. They were an automatic pick for operators like Valkyrie, Frost, and Pulse. But that was until the nerf, of course. Ubisoft not only nerfed semi-auto shotguns, but also nerfed Pulse in the same update, slapping him with a double whammy. It was fair for Ubisoft to nerf him though, because his insta-swap molly-wop combo was pretty broken, but Pulse did not go under. In fact, he's always been pretty good. It's just that he's a bit tricky for some to use. But Pulse hasn't seen many major changes since then. In the past, people have argued that Pulse flat out just shouldn't be an operator, but other operators have taken that throne. So, in summary, Pulse in his bald head will be a consistent self-sufficient operator as he always has been. Our first post-launch operator, we have Crafty Valk. Valkyrie was a breakthrough operator, allowing the defense to expand their imagination practically limitlessly. This was the first operator that provided an extra set of observation tools on top of the default cameras. Passionate Valk mains set time aside in custom games to look for crafty spots for their cameras that they can use in real matches. People have even made map guides for Valcam spots. Valk also really never had any balancing issues, only having a camera taken away from her. She has been and will be one of the best defenders to have on your team no matter what level of play. We have another post-launch operator, but he's an attacker and his name is Lion. Out of all the operators on this list, this one could be argued the most, but I felt the need to add him just because of his sheer brokenness when he launched. He was the first operator to be completely banned from Pro League, and Ubisoft has shown no filter when expressing their regrets about Lion. Lion's ability to practically freeze the defense at will is beyond game-breaking, and Ubisoft definitely took the necessary action to put him in a more balanced position. Lion's impact on the dev team's mentality of releasing new operators has been more on the conservative scale, as seen with the last few attackers. But I doubt we'll ever see an operator release as broken as Lion did again. Up next, we have an operator that changed defending forever: Mira. Mira is by far the most impactful post-launch operator on this list when it comes to making strategies and flipping expectations for attackers. Similar to Valk, Mira got passionate players to really think about strategies they can create on defense. And of course, the pros loved Mira. She has and always will be a force to be reckoned with when going against a smart team. Although she does get banned on a few maps, she is probably one of the best operators Ubisoft has ever added, making barely any balancing changes to her since her release. And if you even want to put lore into the consideration, she's the backbone for it. I mean, look what you did for our guy. Cracking into our top 5, as conflicting as this one could be, I chose Blackbeard. There's a number of reasons as to why such a hated operator like Blackbeard on here. The first one is that he's the first operator to break a basic Siege fundamental, and in this case, that's the one-shot headshot rule. Another reason is that he's a new player's best friend when learning the game. In fact, I watched a mini documentary about Pengu, and this is exactly what he did, which was to use Blackbeard in pro matches consistently, while using anything but him when practicing. On a personal matter, I'm surprised Blackbeard hasn't gotten a rework yet, and right now especially he's a hot topic. If you're interested on the subject, I made a video about who is next for an operator rework, and I talked about Blackbeard extensively. I'll leave a card in the top right corner if you're interested about that. But in summary, although super controversial operator, Blackbeard is a symbol of the more negative side of Siege, and Saran wrap memes of course, because who could forget that? Going back to our Pathfinders, we have Thatcher. Thatcher is one of the most powerful operators in the game and has been since its release. Thatcher, as of now, counters nearly all defenders in the game. While Ubisoft has teased at reworking Thatcher, no real big changes have been made since the game dropped. Due to this, Thatcher's been in the top 5 in terms of ban rate since the feature came out. There's just no operator like him in the game, having all that power just a push of a button. Thatcher also has an unrivaled synergy with Thermite, thus creating the legendary Thermite Thatcher combo. And who could forget the most legendary line in any operator video?
GPS satellites, unmanned drones, fucking laser sights. Fucking laser sights.
Moving on to our top 3, we have Ashe. Ashe is a must pick when going for a rush. I mean, they do call it an Ashe rush. Her sheer firepower with a combination of her tiny size and zippy speed makes her a menace to defend against. Ubisoft tried nerfing Ashe by removing her ACOG on her R4C, but that was just obligatory on their part and really didn't change all that much. And I haven't even gotten to her gadget yet. Ashe provides strong utility in the forms of flash nades to burn Jager's ADS and open up lines of sight with her breaching launcher. She's also extremely user friendly because any new person from a fast-paced game like Call of Duty can pick up Ashe and be productive. This sheer fragging potential is why those Ashe and Jager mains exist. And oh hey, speaking of Jager, we have Jager at number 2 on our list for obvious reasons. He is by far the best defender in the game. He has always dominated the pick rates, just recently being at a whopping 90%. There really is no reason not to pick Jager. He has arguably the best gun on defense or even in the game. He's a 3-speed, and he was the only operator that offered what he does just until last season. There was no alternative for over 4 years, and even then, Wamai isn't all that strong in comparison to Jager. I mean, there are pros and cons, but it is still no match for the powerhouse that Jager is. Just like Ashe, if you want to frag out while still being helpful to your team, you can. In terms of balance, he has been consistent as well. Well, except for most recently, but we'll see how that goes. Before we reveal number 1, just because this is such a difficult list to make, I want to give honorable mentions for the operators that couldn't make the cut. Now, it's time to reveal our GOAT.
When you mix fuel, metal oxide, and metal powder in just the right way, it burns at 2,000 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to cut through nearly any barrier known to man. Throw some C4 into the mix, and you've got one hell of a combination.
Thermite has everything going in his favor for his GOAT case. He has always been a part of the meta, and he likely always will be. Thermite, for a while, was the only operator who could hard breach. It took Ubisoft almost a year to get someone else who could cut through reinforcements. Thermite is also the only operator in the game to receive every single secondary gadget for offense. He's had breaching charges, smoke grenades, frag grenades, stun grenades, and a claymore, putting him in a tier of his own. Speaking of his loadout, his weapons are strong enough for some players to even frag out with, hence the nickname Fragmite. But in reality, that isn't his job, and that's why I put him above Ashe and Jager. Siege isn't just about getting kills or doing your own thing, it's about working together as a team. That's why cohesion is so essential. Siege isn't Siege without your teammates, and Thermite symbolizes that. Just like Thermite can't get that wall open without Thatcher, you can't play Siege without working together. Well guys, that was my top 10 greatest Rainbow Six Siege operators of all time. What is your own list? Comment them down below. But wait, content creators, I challenge you to make a video on what your top 10 is and tell me who you think is the greatest of all time. I'm looking forward to seeing your lists. If you made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you so much, and I ask you that if you liked the video to please leave a like, and if you want to see more content from me, hit that sub button, and maybe even the bell right next to it if you feel like it. Up on the screen I have a video I made where I show a trick for every attacker on the left, and then a meme styled video on the right. I highly recommend that you check one of these out. But, that's all from me. Grizzly Goat out.